What's happening, guys? Welcome to another video. Today I'm going to show you the teardown of the Beams engine that we hurt last October at Canadian Drift Series, or CDS. So basically, in a nutshell, what happened is it was the third round. I think I was actually in third overall at the time, or tied for third with a bunch of guys. And the engine did not have a great day. Basically, the first few practice runs when I got out there, we were having some sensor issues. I could see on the logs that either I was losing a cam sensor or a crank. It was really weird. Went out, had a really big backfire, so I logged it, and basically it looked like VVTi, it looked like cam or crank or something, like one of the sensors, but they were doing all sorts of weird stuff. So I threw, I think, the exhaust cam at it first. That didn't change anything. Put both new cam sensors, or the spares that I had, and went back out there, initiated pretty decently hard, and it backfired like AK-47 level backfire at like 7,000 RPM. So the engine really didn't like that. And yeah, here's the pull down of the old engine. All right, team, I got the full pan off, all split apart. Like I showed, there's lots of debris and metal in there. She is not happy. I'm gonna turn this bad boy over and see what's going on. Feel like that's not how that's supposed to be. But yeah. All right, so after kind of sending some photos to Steve and some friends and whatnot, it looks like these rod bearings are okay. Maybe, as I said, I'm not an expert, so it kind of like, number one, looked a little rough, but again, this engine at this point is that right? 14 years old at this point, basically, just over 14, so they're getting up there in age. I only scoped like a little bit of the bottom end and couldn't really see much. So let's scope the top end, take the coil plugs out, which I should have done originally. Let's scope it a little bit, and if not, I'll start pulling the head. So Steve gave me this little camera, this little scope, and as you can see, let me see if I can like pull this out a little bit. So I can see the valves, right? And I don't know what that is. Piston looks okay from up here, obviously. What the hell is that? I think that's our culprit, but soon to find out what the other ones look like. You see the valve is completely down. So 3 looking okay. Everything looks okay. There is that shiny piece of material there. I'm not sure what that is. Off to the left there of the screen. But 3 looks okay. I mean, quick look. That's number 2. Give it a little spin. Anything over there? 2 looks fine. Getting in holes, am I right? Okay. Might need to move that guy a little bit. Gonna go over. Which way am I going? Am I going the wrong way? Let's see. Nope, I'm going right. That should be enough to see it. Yeah, I mean, that looks like a piston. Looking at it, it's a tough call what it is just before I crack it off. It could be a shim, or like the shim onto the bucket just kicked that the hell out, or a piece of the valve, but there's not a lot of damage. So let's see, let's crack on. All right, so on second review, looks like, by all intents and purposes, everything up here looks okay. Yeah, even the buckets do look, these buckets here look quite low to me. But yeah, I guess we'll see. We'll see. I keep pulling away and see what's going on.
So to provide some context of what Rhett found in one of the cylinders, we thought it could be like a keeper from a valve spring or like a shim or a bucket or anything, but it didn't make any sense. There was no evidence, no witness marks that it got chewed around in the engine. And don't forget, this thing shut off or let out a massive backfire at like 7,500 RPM. So if something from the valve or the valve train let loose in the cylinder, there would be catastrophic damage, and there wasn't. So it really didn't answer any questions. We were just very confused.
Boys, to say I am confused is a fucking understatement. So head is off. Head is off, right? So that's what we're looking at. It's metal, right?
Wrong. This wasn't addressed in the video, but wanted to clarify. So these pieces of material which Rhett thought were metal inside the cylinder didn't actually have anything to do with the failure. When he scoped the motor, you'll notice that the valves were down, and those are the intake valves on cylinder number 4. These pieces ended up being extremely hard plastic that some way, somehow fell into the intake or fell into the cylinder when we took the intake off. The actual pieces were from the very sturdy little plastic risers that the fuel rail uses to kind of space it up as it bolts onto the intake. So not sure how they ended up in there, but we actually ended up chasing them down and found out that they were actually part of the fuel rail and had nothing to do with anything.
Fine. I don't understand because look. All right, head off, right? Fucking, that's number 4, right? Took everything else. Shims look good. I can show you the shims, Jace. So shims, I marked them out like you did. I1 through 8, or I1 through 8, E 1 through 8. So let's come here and let's raise this bitch. All right, so here's what we got. That's number 4. I'm looking real fucking hard. And obviously I can see those two little knocks in the valves. But okay, I'm so confused. That's number 1. And those 2 valves honestly look the fucking worst. I'm not sure if that's just like a burn problem. But whatever. I am fucking confused. I do not understand. I don't know how it got down there. Am I missing a fucking gaping hole that I'm not seeing? I see something there in number 3. There's nothing in number 3. What now? All right, boys. Okay. I think I figured it out. After friggin' a while of looking, we got somewhat straight boy. And we got bendy boy. I think that's what's going on. Potentially. So yeah. Let me see. Get a better light in here. But I think that is my issue. Guys, check the amount of material on that crank sensor. I mean, I know I was having crank issues. I'm just wondering if that's obviously after the fact, but like, damn. Yeah, buddy.
So after finally discovering something that was not correct, we still weren't entirely sure why this thing was knocking so bad, because nothing wrong with the valve train, nothing wrong with combustion chambers, nothing wrong with the bottom end, just a bent rod.
All right, so number 1, I completely removed just to, before I pull it completely down, I started to pull it down a little bit more, pull it out just to confirm everything I've been thinking. And yes, she is bent. Look at that. That was bent. Well, that's what boost looks like, I guess. Wah, wah, wah. Let's see what the other ones look like. Hopefully I think number 4 looked a little squirrely, but 2 and 3 looked okay, but we're about to find out. I can pretty confidently say the material is coming from here. Basically, this is where the piston, the bottom of the piston, because it's now shortened, is hitting the crank on the like whatever stroke you want to call that. So when it's all the way down, it's hitting the top of, I guess, the balance shaft or the crank, whatever this is, this piece. Because if you look over here, we're good. It still has the original. Might have been getting into it for a second. That's why I'm wondering if 4 is hurt. But I will show you all of them in a minute. Here are the pistons and rods. Bent to shit. All the others okay. I was worried about 4. 4 does look okay. They're all cast slightly goddamn different. That's fine. Yeah. So here's where your material is coming from. It's the bottom of this piston. Just rub down. Well, it's all the way down, but rub down on the back end of that crank. As you can see, the other side of the pistons look like that. So, and then number 4, just to verify it's not bent also. Right, that's basically it for the teardown of the engine. As you can see there, basically number 1 rod basically got slammed into itself. It got short, but luckily the bearings all look quite good. Rod bearings are all good. I think some of the main bearings after pulling it all the way down are a little rough, but that's not too bad. Long story short, gonna rebuild that engine. Obviously not exactly the best timing. I wasn't expecting to have to do that. So yeah, I think basically from here on out, I'll probably just do a pretty simple built bottom end. That's all I really need. No point spending tons of money on the head. So I'll probably just do a piston and rod combo. There's a good bit of rods available, but not too many pistons. I think I'm gonna go with JE pistons because they're on the shelf. They're 951 compression versus 10-1 or whatever. And you can get those quickly. And then I'll just go with something simple like an Eagle rod, 3S GT rod, which should hold, 500-600 horsepower. That's basically it. Not exactly what you want to find, but honestly, you can deal with it. 2 engines I have, this one and the spare, they've cost me nothing. It was when Beamses were cheap when I got these. Now obviously Beamses are really expensive, so that's why I'm just gonna rebuild it. Over COVID, all the importers wanted like $3-4 grand for a Beams engine, which I used to get them for almost $1,000 with everything, trans, ECU, and harness, exhaust, everything. So I used to just sell them down and sell everything I didn't need. And I think the 2 engines I currently own, I probably only have like $300-400 into them. So it's way simpler just to rebuild it. And it's a good opportunity to learn, because I've never done one before and I'd really like to. So that's where we're at. That's the video that's gonna be coming next, and then eventually get it on the dyno, get it back up and running, and some driving videos. But like, comment, subscribe. It helps the channel out. We appreciate it. But yeah, stay tuned. Gonna be doing more Beam stuff, more 1J stuff, and whatever else. And the Genesis is here in front of me. Be a little bit of that stuff. But yeah, thanks a lot.